Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, where we focus on real voices, grassroots commentary, and holding power accountable. Today, we're talking about something we've seen bubbling for a while, MAGA regret. That's right, more and more former Trump supporters are openly questioning their decision to back him, and it's a sign of how deep the cracks are running in the MAGA base. Let's get into it. We've seen diehard MAGA voters defend Trump through scandals, indictments, and chaos. But now, many are realizing what their votes have enabled. The economy's instability, rising extremism, attacks on democratic institutions, and blatant bias in decision-making have pushed some over the edge. Whether it's veterans, suburban voters, or rural conservatives, clips are surfacing of people admitting they've been misled. They believed in the promise of America first, but what they got was corruption, division, and authoritarian president.
But I need to get this off my chest. Today is the first day that I regret voting for Donald Trump.
I messed up. As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump because I thought he was going to deliver on his promises. And now I quickly realized that I had to FAFO, and the whole country will have to FAFO. And it's just ridiculous about what's going on right now. I sincerely apologize.
So I'm still upset about my vote for Donald Trump. Everybody knows I got fired from the research and development that I was doing.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it because now, since Elon Musk took over, I lost my job. It's last night in the hotel. I was ahead of the...
I never thought this day would come. Well, I'm gonna regret what I did. I really regret voting for this guy. I'm working on this program for the sound power phones batteries. We're researching these batteries for these sound power phones, and they cut off our funding.
I regret voting for Trump. I didn't think I was going to actually say this out loud so fast too, right? But I voted for Trump and I regret it. So many people are losing their jobs. So many of my friends. I just lost my job too. I worked in this experimental department called Folding Hardtack.
It took my wife.
This man who wished not to be identified says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in the United States for a few years. She was one of 3 people taken from this home. I'm told the 2 others were men who worked in construction. You see them here. This video, only 1 minute and 52 seconds long, we do not see his wife being removed from the home. But this is a picture of her that he keeps in his wallet. Her name is Vianis Ramirez, and he says she was in the process of becoming a United States citizen.
She already had a court date. She was good. Everything good. He just came in and snatched her.
You'll hear it in today's clips. These aren't pundits or politicians. These are regular Americans, some wearing red hats just a few years ago, now saying, I made a mistake. That matters, because when the base starts to fracture, it's a warning sign that Trump's grip is slipping. One woman talks about losing all her government assistance that is desperately needed. A former federal worker breaks down how he lost his job in the IRS while it's undermanned, and there is an average of 120 cases per person. These are powerful moments, not because they're dramatic, but because they're real, and we have plenty more. But before we move along, we would like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would help with YouTube pushing our videos and the channel growth. Thank you.
A veteran and former federal worker from Delaware County.
We wanted to highlight one of the people who'd been unjustly fired. Smitty has been with the IRS Taxpayer Advocacy Service, so he works with taxpayers to help them make sure they're paying the correct amount, they're not paying too much.
I love doing that job. I love helping people out. And being told that you can't go to work anymore because you haven't been there for a year is just kind of horrible, The Taxpayer Advocate Service is already undermanned as it is. And, when the case advocates are averaging over 120 cases per person and you're letting everybody go, how does that help the taxpayer?
Did you support President Trump in the last election?
Honestly, yeah, I did. I thought he would be someone that would, because he talked a lot about taking care of the military, taking care of the veterans, taking care of the people that put him in office, and it just hasn't happened. So if I could go back in time, I would have voted for, Vice President Harris in a heartbeat.
I voted for him for lower grocery prices. He promised me cheaper prices on groceries. And that has not happened. Not only has that not happened, I am getting my food stamps taken. I am getting my cash assistance taken. I am getting my Section 8 taken. I am getting all my welfare governments taken. I did not ask for this.
This growing regret isn't just emotional, it's political. It means that people are starting to see the cost of turning a blind eye to fascist behavior, election denialism, and anti-democratic actions. It means that the propaganda machine isn't as invincible as it once seemed. And it means there's hope for turning the tide in 2025 and beyond. But it also reminds us, democracy can't defend itself. It requires people, even those who were once misled, to speak out, stand up, and say enough.
Well, it has officially happened. I have been personally impacted by the tariffs. I am going on a trip, and I wanted to look cute on the trip, so I ordered some clothes, okay? I thought I was all good. I placed the order at the end of March before any of the tariff stuff happened. I ordered it from the UK, not a big deal. Actually, doesn't matter where you order it from, matters where it's made. So I got hit with this hot little bill from FedEx, $372. Of that $372, most of that is coming from one particular item. I ordered this cute little sweater vest. See this picture here? Made in China. So my $58 sweater vest went to almost $200 because of this 125% tariff for Chinese goods, because it was not made in America, it was made in China. These tariffs don't affect the companies. They're just gonna pass the cost on to us. I took economics in college and it's been a while, but tariffs are bad economic policy, and that's a hill I'll die on. Well, I didn't vote for this. Why do I have to find out?
All love a good FAFO moment, and boy do I have one for you now. Now before I tell you, let me give you a little bit of background as a reminder. The automotive company Ford bent the knee to Trump and donated $1 million to his inauguration committee. They also donated an entire fleet of vehicles to be used on Inauguration Day. Fast forward to today, and now Ford has changed its tune. The CEO is deeply concerned about the ongoing changes that Trump is making that could highly impact Ford's brand. As background, Ford has invested $1.9 billion in the future of their brand revolving around EVs. Meanwhile, Trump is trying to scrap any growth in the EV market in America, including directing states to stop spending money on building out infrastructure. The CEO is even more concerned about the tariffs between Mexico and Canada. He says if those go into effect, it could be apocalyptic for the automotive industry. Trump has also announced steel and aluminum tariffs that will stack on top of the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada if those go into effect. He ended the interview by saying that they would most definitely lay people off at EV plants in Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee if Trump starts rolling back EV programs that the Biden administration put in place.
The stock market is crashing, and people who voted for Trump are beginning to regret their vote. So all these Republican MAGA accounts on Twitter are having buyer's remorse. At Real Donald Trump, I voted for you, but 30% loss of my retirement funds was not what you promised. At Real Donald Trump, recall the tariffs. You cost me over $3,200 in my retirement accounts Friday, and I voted for you 3 times. You're killing us. For example, this is one. I voted for you 3 times, Mr. President. However, you decimated middle-class retirement funds with this trade war. I cannot support you any longer. You have crushed my ability to retire. I agree that things need to be negotiated and better deals need to be made, but we are paying. There's another one over here. I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have voted for Trump last November. These tariffs are starting to get ridiculous. Now that you are affecting my retirement, I hope for your sake things get better quick. So it's beginning to look like Trump voters are regretting their vote. But
let's be clear, regret is only the first step. What happens next is what matters. These voices must turn into votes, into action, into accountability. The same politicians who pushed lies about elections, who cozied up to extremists, who try to tear down the very foundations of this country, they must be rejected, not just by the left, but by the people they once deceived. That's how we move forward. That's how we rebuild.
Well, it's Sunday. So recently I ran into two of my friends, and they were both big Trump supporters. So I stopped and I said, hey, what do you think about everything that's going on with the cuts and no childhood cancer research and cuts to U.S. aid? And so what do you think? How's it going? And they both said, well, you know, since the election, we decided not to follow politics that closely. Really? So you voted for Trump, but now you don't want to follow politics? And why is that? Well, you know, it was just too upsetting. Oh, really? You voted for Trump? Choke on that word. You voted for Trump, and now you don't want to take any responsibility? Fuck you.
What you voted for. He told you many times that he was going to implement these tariffs throughout his campaign. He campaigned on it. But you voted for him because you wanted to fuck other people over. And once it fucked you over, then you got upset. And now you want to have Democrats in office. It's funny how that works, isn't it? You're okay with other people being fucked over, but once it's you, it's a tragedy. What about all the people that were fucked over and sent to El Salvador illegally? Do you care about them? Of course not. You only care because now you can't retire. I'm not going to break bread with people who only have changed sides because they have a personal interest now. They're not good allies. It does suck for the people whose retirements were drained that did not vote for this. I do feel bad for them. But for the rest of you that jumped into the ocean with your clothes on and now are complaining that you're wet.
Do you know what drives me insane about these people that say that if I would have known, I wouldn't have voted for him, or I did not vote for that? Yes, you did. The first thing that bothers me is yes, you did. You see, you voted for those things. You just thought it would happen to someone else. You were perfectly fine with other people losing programs, losing things that would benefit them. You just didn't think it would touch you. You thought you were safe from losing these programs. And the other part is they say they didn't know. Bullcrap. Bullcrap. The left, independents, lots of different economic experts, doctors, scientists have been screaming about all the horrible things that Donald Trump would do. We told you about Project 2025. We told you how many times his name was listed in Project 2025. And we told you how many of his own staffers were in there as well or helped write it. But you guys didn't believe us. You guys said fake news. We tried to warn you. You didn't either want to listen, or your bigotry and your racism, your homophobia and your sexism didn't allow you to see what was coming. So the bed that you made, you now have to lie on. The sad thing is that so many of us are in the same bed with you, but we didn't vote that way. We knew that these things were going to happen. We knew that this was going to cause havoc for everybody. And look, I'm sorry for you. I feel horrible that you're going to lose all these benefits, but you did vote for this. So if you want something to change, I suggest you call your congressperson and tell them to put a leash on Donald Trump and stop him in Congress. I suggest instead of just coming on this app and whining and complaining about what you yourself created, you call your representative and do something about it. Otherwise, we here on the left and independent, we don't care. We warned you. All my love.
So, to those speaking out, thank you. And to those watching, now's the time to amplify these voices. Now we have a little something special for you before you go. I would like to present to you a clip of David Cross from the cast of Arrested Development comedy show. I think you're going to love it. Please share this video. Subscribe for more grassroots coverage. Stay informed, stay loud, and remember, democracy isn't just a concept. It's a fight, and it needs you.